It's Nolan. Now, before we get started, make sure y'all hitting that like button. Make sure y'all sharing it on your respective platforms. Let somebody know what we're doing today. Now, let's get into the show.
Lifelong dreams being elevated. Leave a nigga face down like he meditating. Growing up, trepidation in my locale. Hearing 40 cal, know somebody need resuscitation. I describe myself, nothing define me. Paper cut, sharp, origami. Business in the iPhone, biting the apple like Shinigami. Death notes, every bar's like a homie. I'm the Clyde with a Bonnie. Rhythmalism, I'm too quick. New scripts, I'm producing them daily like news clips. Roof Chris, give me all of the beef, I'm a sous chef. Homies had them 8 balls for the green like a pool stick. I learn my ingredients as I get older, more lenient. We use bitch niggas to be convenient. Need more cash, that's immediate, expedient. My experience teaching what I couldn't get from PBS. Freedom of the finance, read a pie graph. I take my pride back, flip the color like a Mike Jack. Niggas ain't like that. Take a name like it's Iraq. You diss me, might stab a nigga with a wine glass. It's risky. Might crash, don't invite me to the function. I smash niggas pumpkins all together conjunction. Southside nigga cooking up like it's a luncheon. We don't need a studio to get you niggas punched in.
What's going on, beautiful people? It's the kid J Nolan here. Welcome back to another episode of Inside the Industry, your number one source for music, entertainment, commentary, and breakdowns. Hope everybody's doing well out there. In this video, we're going to be getting into a couple different things surrounding Kendrick Lamar, okay? The first that we're going to get into is the new course at Temple University, which will be taught about Kendrick Lamar, his socioeconomic background, and how he turned that background into his artistic vision and the music that we've been receiving for about 15 years now in the game, and the artistic excellence that he's achieved. And it's going to be taught by a professor by the name of Timothy Wellbeck, who's also an attorney. Shout out to Timothy. We've been following each other for years on social media. Supportive dude. He supported my music. Real good dude, black dude at that, and very inspiring. He has an interview out with Curtis King right now. We're going to play a portion of that interview, but they talked for over an hour and a half. If you want to see the whole thing, be sure to go to Curtis King's YouTube channel. They were live earlier today. I'm just going to take a little piece of that to get into, the inspiration behind him actually pushing Temple to move forward with this course, them supporting him in his vision to have this course, because without the support of the the administrators and everybody that's on the board up there, it doesn't happen. So salute to everybody involved. We're going to talk about that, and we're also going to talk about Not Like Us. Okay, Not Like Us is now eligible for diamond certification. Now, will it be certified? That's going to be up to Kendrick and his team, because he has a whole gang of songs that are eligible for diamond certification that he just won't go and certify. You know what I'm saying? Like, he don't even give a fuck about it. But we're going to get into that as well. Go through the other songs that he has that are eligible for diamond certification. And just to kind of back up, people have been talking numbers and all that stuff for years, while simultaneously overlooking just how well his music has performed, even in those categories, although he doesn't seem to relish in those specific types of accomplishments. We're going to get into all of those things in this video, all right? So before we get to video, reading is fundamental. So let's get into like the background of this, and then we're going to let Timothy kind of elaborate. So Temple University unveils new course studying Kendrick Lamar and his cultural impact. Okay, the course will focus on how K-Dot and hip-hop examines the evolution of black expression in America. All right. Local outlet NBC 10 in Philadelphia broke the news earlier this week, announcing the course is titled Kendrick Lamar and the Morale of Mad City. The course will be taught by Professor Timothy Wellbeck, who teaches in the Department of Africology and African American Studies and is currently the director of the Center for Anti-Racism. Once again, shout out. Wellbeck has taught at Temple for 14 years and has often woven hip-hop and the black experience into his courses. He's previously taught about urban black politics, Tupac, and the intersection of rap with black identity. Wellbeck told NBC 10 He'd been planning and prepping this Kendrick course for over a year and has previously used K-Dot's material in his other classes. He says, "My current department chair was very open to the idea and received it almost immediately. In a lot of ways, our department at Temple specifically, and Temple more broadly, has embraced the study of hip-hop in academic spaces." He continued, "Kendrick Lamar is one of the defining voices of his generation, and in many ways, both his art and life is reflective of the black experience in many telling ways." Wellbeck told NBC 10, "Being able to discuss his art in the environment that helps lead him into being the man that he is in a lot of ways can tell you him as an individual, but can also talk about the journeys towards self-actualization, particularly as it is related to the black experience. The course will more particularly focus on how K-Dot and hip-hop examines the evolution of black expression in America." Welbeck said he hopes the course will help students see the power of hip-hop as a form of art and storytelling. Kendrick is far from the first black artist to be a focal point at Temple University, with previous course topics highlighting Jay-Z and Beyonce's accomplishments as well. All right, now let's get into Mr. Timothy and Curtis, where he can speak for himself without me reading his quotes.
It absolutely caught our attention on this end when we heard that there's going to be a course at Temple University that is going to be talking about not only Kendrick Lamar, but his effect on society, being from all these different things that I want you to give the specifics of. But the first question I have for you, what inspired you to create this particular course about Kendrick?
Again, it was providential. What I'll say in short is that, so I for years taught a class called No City for Young Men, Hip Hop and the Narrative of Marginalization. And it was talking about how hip hop communicates the lived experiences of people in urban America. And it's like, it don't matter where you go to, like South Side of Chicago, the Ninth Ward, the West Side of Atlanta, Compton, East New York, people are telling the same stories, especially through the culture. And so I was using that as a lens of saying, we can look into people's lives by this music, and using the literature of the lyrics as a portal to a better understanding of these things. So I've been teaching that class for a number of years. I've been using Kendrick's music in that class for about 10 years. Wow. And it was a process where over time, as the class was growing, I said, Kendrick has enough to where we could teach a course around him. Mm-hmm. And so the idea germinated back then, but specifically more recently, I was talking to my department chair about this time last year, and she was talking about how I should create a new course. And so we went back and forth with a couple ideas, and then she was like, some of the ideas are good, but I don't know if they're good for right now. And I said, well, what about a class about Kendrick? I've been talking about that for a while. I've been thinking about that. I have a sample syllabus I can put together for you. I've been using his music in class. Some colleagues of mine just wrote a book about him. I'm quoted in there, so I could potentially use that. She said, I love that. She said, send me a syllabus and let's see what happens. Right. So I sent her the syllabus. And to be honest with you, like, I didn't know what happened after that, because she said, I'm look at it and we'll see what happens. And she said, I like it. It looks really good, but I'll put it through the process. That's what I mean by I didn't know what happened. Right. And then they announced that it was accepted. And I was like, oh, it's accepted. That's cool. It's up. We can do the class or whatever. And so they announced it, I believe, in late February, early March. And then it just it was exciting. It was exciting on campus.
You could set the internet on fire. I'm seeing pages that I've never seen bring up anything academics related. That is not I promise that is not a pun. Anything academic related. I have not seen them bring up anything that has to do with a college course, but I see people who are not only excited, but even folks here. And this is one of my questions. I want to wait for this question, but I have folks here who are asking, is it open to the public? And I know I'm not a Temple University student, but to see that kind of excitement, I think says a lot in my own head about the different experience that people have when engaging with an artist like a Kendrick Lamar, right? There's a certain level of art, a high level of art, a bar that he sets with every project, almost with every feature, in which he is preparing you to do some thinking. He's preparing you to still engage and enjoy the experience as it is. But I want to know from you, especially someone who's been covering this who's been not covering, but mentioning Kendrick within your course and curriculums for the last 14 years, why Kendrick Lamar specifically? Now, there's a million reasons why, but why are your reasons specifically why you wanted to center this on Kendrick?
What I would say is that his art speaks for itself, and in a lot of ways, it captures the plight of Black life in America, particularly for people of our generation. So Kendrick's a few years younger than me, but we're in the same generation, right? So,
Mhm.
and so you can learn so much about how people have navigated the various components of Black people, particularly of America, through the lens of his music. And what I mean by that is we'll talk in a scholarly way about housing segregation and redlining and devaluing of property. We'll talk about the war on drugs and mass incarceration and the carceral state. We'll talk about the explosion of violence and drug culture and things like that. But those policies and after effects had impacts on people. There
Mhm.
are real people who are living out the dynamics of what it meant to navigate the terrain of communities that were altered by that. And Kendrick's music reflects that. And not only does it reflect that, but it gives a lens into not only the people who are there and their experiences, but their dignity, the journey towards self-actualization and the imagination to see yourself better than the conditions that birthed you. And then beyond that, he's a master craftsman, like you mentioned. Every single one of his projects is objectively excellent. I know that
Absolutely.
there are people who don't like him. I get it, right? He may have hurt your favorite artist's feelings. I understand that.
Hold on. Oh, don't mind if I do. Continue. I'm sorry.
He
Continue.
may have hurt your favorite artist's feelings, but I'll say this because I don't want to poke the bear, but I'll
Sure.
say this. So you can say that I might prefer someone else's art over Kendrick's. I can understand that. You can even say I'm squeamish about language and some of his topics, so I can't endorse some of his content. I can understand that too. But I think we can all unequivocally say that Kendrick Lamar Duckworth's output is objectively excellent. And if you don't agree with that, everyone else does. He has 22 Grammys. He has a Pulitzer Prize. He
Hello.
has number one albums. He has a stadium tour that he is selling out across the world. No rapper's ever done that before.
Very eloquently stated. Shout out to Timothy Wellbeck. Shout out to Temple University. Shout out to all my folks from Philly and Pennsylvania in general. You know what I'm saying? In the context of hip hop and just geography in general, man, the affinity that we have for Philly, or I say myself and others that are around me. Um, Much love to y'all, man, for sure. But yeah, man, I really love this because I salute all of the hip hop studies professors out there that are actually, on the ground, putting feet to the pavement to actually teach what it is that we do within this space, right? To actually flesh it out in a curriculum, in a syllabus, in a educational way, to where it's not just entertainment, but now it's actually a microscope into or telescope rather than a microscope, a telescope into the environments that we come from, the uh the stories behind the music, although all of the stories may not be autobiographical. They may be uh inspired by real stories, but a lot of it comes from fucked up conditions that we all, even if we weren't raised in them, can identify with. And many of the people out there that consume this music that can't identify with it, they learn to identify with it through the music and the entertainment aspect of it. Sometimes those the after effects aren't always good, but for us it comes from a mostly genuine place. I do want to give a shout out to Bun B. I want to give a shout out to Ninth Wonder, practitioners in the hip hop space that after making their mark in music, decided to go into the education space and use the context of hip hop as a launching pad for their careers in academics. I know some people don't fuck with Lupe Fiasco, but he's actually taken time out of his life and career to teach rap studies. You know what I'm saying? On a collegiate level. I think that's to be saluted, even if you don't fuck with the person. Um, Especially with, again, everything that people go through in order to have these lived experiences that they share in their music. You know what I'm saying? Kendrick specifically, I mean, he is the quintessential good kid from a mad city, even if he wasn't necessarily always the good kid. You know what I'm saying? I think most good kids can also attest to that, like having those moments where You're influenced by your environment to go out and do some shit that your homies or your neighbors or the people that you fuck with, that you go to school with, they might be into some shit that you ain't necessarily trying to get down with, but you might test the waters. You might put your feet in the motherfucking fire. You know what I'm saying? You might say, damn, everybody having a pool party. Let me dive in the motherfucking pool. And your ass damn near drown. And somebody got to come get you out that motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? So he is that person, which is why so many people identify with him on a molecular level rather than some of the other artists that we've had in the past decade or so, decade plus in hip hop. It's not synthetic, it's not artificial with Kendrick. And his discography is insane. You know what I'm saying? If you go through Good Kid, Mad City, you go through motherfucking To Pimp a Butterfly. I mean, contextually, what he's talking about on that album is worth a course on its own. Damn, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which I personally feel is his best album. Personally. You know what I'm saying? Next to Good Kid. But I think I may even rank it higher than Good Kid just for the time that it was released in my life. You know what I'm saying? But that's just me. And then we have GNX, which is like all of those things culminated of him like having a victory lap on the battle, victory lap on the industry, giving us his life and times as it stands currently, giving us an up-to-date a version of what he's been telling us. The tour he's been on, I think he deserves all of that shit. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't seen somebody uphold hip hop to this level. And when I say uphold hip hop, it's not just about the music, it's about the person, it's about the character, it's about just like how they praise LeBron James in the NBA, somebody who has had very limited scandal around their name, you know what I'm saying, and just upheld and did things the right way, and then put their homies on in the process. You can't really, you can hate, you could be mad, but just because you feel those things don't make them actually real. And I think a lot of people got to understand that stuff too. You know what I'm saying? Just because you have feelings and they may be rooted in something doesn't mean that they're rooted in the truth. Okay? But that's just whatever. Not to mention that that European leg of the tour and all that stuff that he got going on is motherfucking booming and bunking out there, bit, man. I'm looking at crowds mosh pitting, they doing a motherfucking wave. Niggas is moving in droves and shit. I'm like, God damn. Shit, it wasn't like that at the motherfucking Atlanta show, I tell you that, and that shit was lit. But let's get into the Diamond status of Not Like Us. Diamond eligible in a year, that is, which is the fastest song to accomplish that feat. All right, so here we have it. Kendrick Lamar songs that are eligible for RIAA Diamond certifications in the U.S. We have Not Like Us, which is the newest entry. We have Humble, which he still hasn't claimed. I think Humble damn near on his way to double diamond. All the Stars, Bad Blood, Bitch Don't Kill My Vibe, DNA, Fucking Problems, and Money Trees. Okay, that's 8 entries that he's still yet to claim to get his RIAA Diamond certification and plaque for, because him and his team don't even give a fuck about it. Nigga just drop the shit, see the shit go through the moon, and move on with life. I don't know too many other artists in the music industry at this point that wouldn't be eager to receive their diamond plaque in the mail. Kendrick is not even concerned about that shit, man. PG Lang ain't concerned about that shit. Hell, TDE ain't even motherfucking concerned about that shit. For the older records that are eligible, they just been goddamn roaming along doing their own do. And that's what make a motherfucker dangerous. When they could excel at these types of levels and not even be all that concerned about that shit, that's a deadly motherfucker. I ain't gonna lie, man. But once again, salute to Kendrick and all that he's done, all that he's doing, all that he's accomplished. He's held us down. He's held us down for a long time, man. And for somebody who was locked in, witnessing his journey since probably the latter part of 2009 going into 2010. It's an awesome feeling to see everything that he's done in that time, especially when around the time I first heard his music, a lot of folks was playing with him, especially, talking about his voice. A lot of people was like, I don't know about that voice. And he maximized on that motherfucking voice and made it one of the most recognizable and most important voices in the history of hip hop. How about them apples? Let me know what y'all think of all of this down below in the comments. Be sure to like and share this video. If this is your first time seeing me on YouTube, go ahead and subscribe to the channel, become an insider. I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Be sure to vote for your boy in the Global Citizen Festival on the way out. The link is in the description of this video. I will catch y'all on the next one, all right? And y'all know, let God sort them out on the way. Clips album, soon to be here. Let's get it, y'all. Peace.
King of my city and cul-de-sac. Coming out swinging like soldier rags. Leading my people like quarterback. Boy, I study this shit, I'm an almanac. Had to get up and grind. Knowledge is booming, I'm here to apply. Came with the chip and the dip, it just single the mind. We finna do more than survive. I need my check. Spinning the block for the Gouda. We hitting the jeweler to flood out the net. We don't do beef on computers, I'm straight out the sewer. We come when you rest. Niggas be looking perplexed, so keeping my foot on their neck. No map, I trust my gut for the quest. But drama, I'm fully abreast. I was ready for years and they doubted me. All of a sudden they tell me they proud of me. I been dropping these haters like calories. Cross them out, I came back with some boundaries. Stand for my honor, but too raw, no corner. Packing the stick with a drummer. Wanna catch my bad, won't fumble. I done came too far to be humble.